what I have noticed just lately, because my boss is out there and he's trying to purchase a good dog just now, right? And I dare say your owners is out there trying to, because the derby's been back at Towcester and all the rest of it, and they're looking forward to the big occasion. And I dare say you've got a few owners that's prepared to go and buy you a nice derby dog, and I've got owners there that's prepared to go out and get a nice derby dog. But every time you go on the phone, Kevin, it seems to be sky high. But the margins don't seem to be there, because there we're going up to Perry Bar. There, this is just a for instance, Kevin. I mean, I know the Grand Prix was well talked about the lack of prize money in the Grand Prix, but we're going up to Perry Bar tomorrow night for the English Laurels. The English Laurels, remember. We're not talking about we're talking about the great English Laurels. And I should know, I won it with Full Cigar when it was at Bellevue. But when I won it back then, Kevin, which was 18 years ago or something like that, I get £8,000 for winning it. We're going up here tomorrow night and it's £6,500 if you win it, Kevin. So I think trainers are going to find it harder and harder for to be going paying the 30 grand that they're now asking for these dogs to run for. And I think that unless these people that are running the sport and these promoters, and if they don't get, I don't understand why they didn't cut back in their amount of competitions, but make them, instead of £6,500 or £8,000, let's have a rise in it. Let's cut back to 6 competitions a year, but let's make them for 15 grand or 20 grand.
I mean, financially, Rab, none of it makes sense, does it? You know, if you look at it in black and white, why on earth would you go and spend 20 or 30 grand on a dog to bring over here? You know, you need to win 3 Group 1 races just to recover the cost of the dog. That's, you know, without paying the X's along the way. So if you looked at it in the cold light of day, you'd never do it. You wouldn't do it. So prize money is a million miles off where it needs to be. I mean, I'm a big fan of the. Go on.
What did they? I can't help it but look at this situation that we're in, Kevin. And listen, I'm a greyhound through and through, and I've always have been, but I can't claim to be a great mathematician or anything like that. But the people that's behind this sport and are trying to promote this sport, and the people that are running these competitions, do these people actually honestly believe deep down in themselves? Do you think that they actually believe that this sport is going to keep going for the way it's going? I mean, if you remember back a few years ago when I was on TV, I made a big statement then that any young person coming into this game would need to be crazy because this game's sinking fast. Now, I thought we had a great thing, and I still believe we've got a good thing in the likes of Mark Bird at the helm of the up at the top of it all. And I think that, but I do think there's more to it now than what's ever been to ever since ARC and Entain became a joint venture. Then I think I just can't see it. I just cannot visualize what's going to happen. I mean, I see a thing there too, Kevin. I don't know whether you've seen it in the calendar. The Entain and ARC are now going to be running Bitches. It's an invitation, Bitches invitation, but for their trainers only.
Yeah, I saw that. That's just I think just an Entain initiative between the tracks. I think they'll do it at each track, and there's prize money up for grabs for the rehoming side of each track. Probably trying to get back to the little way to the old Bagstrack Championships that we had. I mean, I know it's refined to their groups, but I still think that's a good thing. I still think that's a positive. you know, it's a good boost of prize money. I think 750 quid or something to the winner. But like you say, it is just for their four tracks. You know, I think we're still going to Brighton on I think it's the 1st of next month with a few dogs, hopefully, to try and do what we can for Monmore. But I don't see that as being a bad thing for them. But I think overall,
I don't see it as a bad thing for them, Kevin. What I'm getting at is this the way they're going to go? Because I'm trying to visualize 6 months and 8 months down the line, Kevin. Is this the way they're going to try and go and have wee competitions instead of the open racing, and keep the competitions within their own tracks when it becomes Entail, Entain, and Arc? Are they going to try and you are not attached to these company, so you can't run your dog? Is this the way it's going in the next couple of years or that, Kevin? Is it heading that way, do you think?
No, I'd be amazed if it went like that, Rob. I can't see that being sustainable in any way, and obviously no good for the sport whatsoever. So I don't think that's their intention. I think it's just something they brought on to be a little bit different and support their own tracks, obviously. But I think open race competition, proper
there is an argument here. There is an argument here that, you know, if we're going to be talking about quality, and that's what any track is going to do, whichever one, whether it's M or SIS, all you're actually doing is sort of damaging yourself, because the caliber of race is going to be that poor. I mean, we had a good example. Again, not going to keep bringing up the subject, but it is current because we had the semi-finals last night at the Grand Prix. I was talking to David Mitchell today. He's worked out that they've got the track record holder now with Blue Tick George, and he said, you know, if they don't win or finish second in the competition, they lose money. Added to which, they're also going to be making a donation, I believe, to charity from should they win the final. To in any case, so clearly it isn't about the money. They are a syndicate. They can afford to do it, but they don't have to do it. But yeah,
Lloyd, I hear this all the time. It's not about the money, and it's not about the money, and to a certain extent, it's not about the money. But you've got to also understand, and Big Kevin's in the situation too. Listen, sometimes it's got to be about the money, and if we keep saying it's not about the money, then the next thing you find out, we'll be running open races for 100 quid, right? And we'll be back to 1950 or 70 or whatever. So let's not beat about the bush here. It's all right. The KSS syndicate or Kevin Hutton's owners have got plenty of money. Wait a minute. They haven't got a lick in what Billy Hill's got, or Joe Corral, or any of them. They are not in the same league as these Entain, Arc, and all the rest of it. So let's not beat about the bush here. Is that it's not about the money. It is about the money. And we do need more money.
The money's a major factor. I accept that, because everybody's got to, you know, put diesel in the van and feed the dogs and whatever. But there are other factors as well. I mean, again, talking to David Mitchell, and he said, if you're speaking to Rab and Kevin later, you know, would you just sort of bring it up as a subject that he wants to take his kids along to see Blue Tick George in the final at Sunderland, and won't be able to do so because they've chosen not to open the stadium up to owners. Now, that is also not about the money, but that's to me that's really shocking PR.
And why have they not decided to make plans the same as Sheffield, the same as Towcester is starting to open up? So can you tell me why a company like Arc, that have got Newcastle, Sunderland and Perrybarn, why have they not got the management in place to go ahead and say, right, we can allow next week, we can allow 100 owners in. David Mitchell can go along. He's from up that area. It's probably one of the closest tracks to him. All of a sudden, his dog's in a final and he's going to have to sit at home. Well, let's be serious here now, Floyd. What is the good of that?
Yeah, I agree, and as I said, I'm not defending. I'm just putting this stuff out there because I can't begin to defend it. I I probably won't even be able to get an answer from you for you, because the last couple of times I've tried to contact ARC, I haven't even had a response to any emails. What my query with them related to the race at Newcastle, where Graham Rankin's bitch won the Northern Puppy Derby final. It was impossible to get videos, and it was impossible to get a presentation pic. Now, if you're an owner and you can't even get the little, you know, that few minutes in the sun when you've spent all the money, you've had your great night, you've won your big race, and the tracks don't go to that level, again, it's another slap in the face. And listen, nobody's asking for favours here. It just strikes me as bad business. If you're not going to do that, the basics for owners, then how can you expect them to buy dogs to run at your tracks?